Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
we haven't talked through any of this, so I know you've probably told this story 100 times, but can you just tell us why you wanted to run?
It was interesting. The election was, people were starting to talk about an election. Honestly, I had not thought about this. That may be in the very, very back of my mind. But when I started to see what was going on south of the border and the instability and everything else, and kind of obviously the threats to Canada and everything else, I just started to feel for the country in a way that I hadn't in my life. I studied political science. I'd always thought government was important. I believed in having good representatives. I really did. But there was something about what was going on the last few months. And then as we were heading into the new election, it was odd. About 2 weeks before I had to put my nomination in, it's just started to circle. I've spent 20 years traveling around the country, every little town, every province, north and south. And I love it. I love the country. And I felt like I really knew it. It wasn't that I studied political science. It was that I felt like I actually knew the country and I loved the country and I had faith in the people of this country. And that was honestly the motivating force. I mean, then again, becoming the nominee and then running and winning and all of that came after. But that first motivation was all about love of the country and its people and knowing that we could do it, and feeling like maybe this was my time to motivate and bring people together.
So music did truly help you with this. It did.
In every way, in every way. Music is about connecting with people. It's about understanding how people are feeling deeply. It's also about, building relationships across the country. And you learn how to tour. You learn how to move quick. You learn how to be agile. You learn how to run a business. It's incredible how well it has prepared me in so many ways. The intensity of the job, the schedule of the job, obviously the public part of the job too. You need to be able to talk to strangers. And you talk to any musician, they spend hours after shows shaking hands, signing merch, talking to people about their families or their jobs or all these kind of things. And then you're on the road all day, you're eating in restaurants, talking with people in restaurants. All of that stuff, I feel like, is some of the best preparation you could possibly get.
And you already sleep in a suit.
That's right. I mean, I had all the suits ready. I got to tell you, I am surprised how much more. I mean, I'm in Ottawa right now, so we're sitting. So once we're sitting, the days are long and you do end up wearing a suit for like multiple hours at a time. I feel like I'm going until like 10:30 at night and the tie is still on. But yeah, no, it did, that prepped me too as well.
That's so funny. Okay, so talk to me about election night. Just how were you feeling through it all? And then winning, just walk me through the feelings.
Well, it was interesting. I didn't look at any polling. It wasn't my interest. It didn't change my job. My job was to make sure that I was out in Fredericton, Oromocto, all over the riding, knocking on as many doors, meeting as many strangers. And so I didn't really want to hear, "Oh, you've got this," or "You're doomed," So I wasn't looking at polls. I started to get a pretty good feeling near the end. There was some really good momentum, great conversations at the doors. But you know what? You just can't take those things for granted. I had no idea how it was going to play out. So the night of the election, you're kind of waiting for these results. And no matter how confident or skeptical you might be, there's this moment where you're going, "Oh, wait, either way, this is a huge moment," And I was with my family, I was with my kids, and there was a moment when the results started coming in, and it was kind of tight. And my daughter went, "Uh-oh, I don't like this, Daddy. I don't like this." And I was like, "Okay, it's going to be okay. We ran a great campaign, lots to be proud of." And then all of a sudden, we started to go up, and then it became clear that we were going to win, and it turned from nervousness to excitement. And then all of a sudden, which was a great celebration with the family and all. I mean, we had over 250 volunteers on the campaign. So there was also a lot of people who put a lot of time into this campaign. So it's exciting for everybody. And then, you have a reason to celebrate. And then you have a reason to be kind of a little bit nervous because you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is real. I'm now doing this. I'm going to be an MP." There was that moment too. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. There was this moment where I was like, "Holy smokes, this is a new chapter in my life, a very distinct chapter from having been a musician for 20 years to now doing this. And this is a full-time job. It's a very, very full-time commitment." So yeah, it definitely was a moment in time, but very It was very exciting. I mean, it means a lot, right? Like when you feel like your community supports you in that way, where you put yourself out there, and then all of a sudden the people that you've grown up with and the people that you really care about, all this community that I love so much, comes back and says, "Yeah, we want you to represent us in Ottawa." That's an incredible feeling.
You're known as David Myles, who's beloved by everyone. Obviously, you won, so of course, a lot of people like you. But how does it feel to know that maybe at this point there's going to be you're going to get some haters probably for the first time ever in your life?
I mean, it's one of the scariest things about going into politics in many ways is that you know that you are moving into that type of environment, and it is hard. I'd be lying if I didn't say it was hard. Sometimes you go up to doors and they do not want to talk to you but you know what? I had a feeling it was going to be like that. Again, that is part of the job. I think that it's really, you just have to make sure that you respond in the way that you can be proud of. And my thing has always been, we might not disagree, we might not agree on everything, but like, I'll represent. If I win, I'm the representative. I'm going to represent everybody. That's just been my philosophy. It's always been my musical philosophy. I played for everybody. I wasn't going to just play to like-minded people. I wanted to play to people who had different ideas, and I want to do that when I do this too. I want to have those conversations in the riding with people who are going, "What are you doing? What do you?" That's okay. So I think it's more about, for me, is just making sure that I don't let it change the way I would like to respond. Sometimes it can kind of make you get up and go, "Oh no, it's just, I don't want to become that." And it's also about building relationships and building trust. And I think it can be, no doubt, the hardest thing is that, people love musicians. People don't tend to love politicians in the same way. But it's an important job, and I do really believe that, like, with time, you can build these relationships, even if they're difficult sometimes.
David, were you in the same room as the king?
Oh yeah, yeah, big time.
Okay, just this past week, I know has kind of been the biggest yet. So just kind of tell me about this, like last week.
Oh, it's so funny because you come home on the weekends, right? You come back to the riding, you go around, you do events, you go to the market. I do all these things to make sure that I see as many people. I see my family, obviously, I see my kids, and we're sitting around the table with the kids, and I'm going, "Okay, well, what's going on this week?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to sit in the House for the first time in the House of Commons." I had just gotten sworn in. Oh, the King's coming on Tuesday. It's just this thing where you're like, "Are you kidding me? Is this actually what's going on week to week right now?" So it was a ginormous week, a very exciting week for Canadians. I think it was a really unifying event. Even as members of Parliament, it was nice because these are events that we take part in as members of Parliament, not just members of our party, but we walk together, we are together from all the parties. And those are kind of unifying events because we're starting the new parliament together as a group of parliamentarians, whether you be Conservative, Liberal, NDP, Bloc, whatever, you're moving together. And I think that's really important. And so that was a nice moment. And then obviously seeing the King speak, the members of Parliament have to sit behind a bar because it's in the Senate. So you have to sit behind a big gold bar stand and they kind of crowd in to see. But I actually got in being tall was an advantage. Could kind of see over. And then I could hear, and then actually, as they walked out, as the King and the Prime Minister and everybody else walked out, I happened to be right there, and so that's where I got really close. The protocol is that you don't reach out to shake the hand of the King. You wait until that happens, and I was kind of in the second row, so I played it cool. I played it cool. I did the maritime way. I just played it cool. I sat there, and then I got a very strong head nod. No handshake, head nod, but I swear it was real. There was a real connection between King Charles and I. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is cool. So and when we first jumped on the call, you said how busy you are. So you're sort of in a whirlwind right now.
It's a whirlwind, but every week, every day is a new chapter, a new challenge. It feels very exciting, no doubt about it. I'm learning so much. I'm meeting colleagues from all over Canada, really amazing people from all over Canada serving their communities. So I love that part. It's really great. I'm going to speak in the House this week for the first time. So there's some big things coming up. Every week is like that.
And where do you stand with music?
Well, music right now is, this, as I said, it's such a full-time job. I don't want to squander this opportunity. That's been my main thing with all of this is that this is a big job. There's people have entrusted me with a job and they want me to work and I want to work. And so it's so full-time that I am not going to be playing gigs. I hopefully maybe we'll be able to keep some of the charity elements up come Christmas time with singing for supper. That would be a goal of mine. We'll see if that can work, but on it because that would be a shame to lose those things. I love playing so much, and to do it for that is just such a special part of the season for me. But in terms of regular gigs and going out there and having the business cook in the background, that's not going to happen at all. So it is a big shift. I kind of had to go, okay, it's a commitment, but it's important. I mean, people are, again, they voted for me to represent them. They want me up here. They want me in their communities. They want me working, focused on this job. And I can tell it takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of work. So I'll play at night and, to soothe my soul, to soothe my weary soul. I'll sing some country songs before I go to bed, but I'll keep, that's what music's such an important part of my life. I can't imagine I won't play.
And finally, just what's your biggest goal going forward with this role?
I think my biggest goal is honestly to do it well and to make sure that I, don't get jaded. I stay positive. I stay connected to my community as well as I possibly can. And my big goal is just to build as many bridges as I can, build across the divisions that, in Canada, it's so important. Rural, urban, there's all these divisions. And I feel like I want to make sure that I am always optimistic and ready and open to people. And so it's more of a philosophical goal than anything else, because I do think it can wear you down. And so you need to make sure that you remember why you're here and you remember the community that sent you here and you stay connected to that.
Thank you so much, David. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. Appreciate it. Take care.